All right, guys. Well, hello there. We are now live. Elizabeth, I'm excited today because not one, but we have two very special guests.
Yes, I know. I feel we're a little bit more even. It's a little more Brady Bunch on the screen today. I like it.
It sure is. So we are super excited to be sitting down and sharing conversation with Margy Grant, who is the CEO of Florida Realtors, and Barry Grooms, who is our president of Florida Realtors. Welcome both. Thank you for joining Elizabeth and I today.
Thanks for having us. I think Barry's muted.
Barry is muted.
Oh, let's get him unmuted.
There
we go. Barry, I think we can hear you now.
Check, check. We good?
There you are.
All good.
How is everybody? How are y'all doing?
We're doing
great.
Good.
Doing great. I mean, life is possible, right? This is what we do.
Right.
So first things first, everybody's healthy. We're navigating through our days, finding some sunshine from time to time.
Was this a giveaway? my tan was a giveaway.
I was wondering. I didn't know if that was just the coloring from the Zoom or if you actually were one of the lucky people getting out and enjoying some of the sun.
This is a tan.
Yeah. Good for you. Today it's in the 50s in Texas, so I think I'm in a sweater, but good. I'm glad you have the tan.
Yeah.
3 of 4 of us are in the state of Florida, and it is not in the 50s. It is quite warm. Someone turned on our summer switch. It's warm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Margy, I'd love to start with you. First, well, I will say to both of you, thank you for your service, right? I mean, we are so grateful not only for you joining us for today, but thank you for your service in elevating the real estate community. We obviously come together today and we find ourselves on uncharted territory and unprecedented times. Margy, can you talk a little bit about what Florida Realtors is focused on right now and how we're helping realtors navigate through these waters?
Renee, absolutely. And first and foremost, thank you so much for having us. We are absolutely grateful to have the opportunity to connect with both you and your agents and possibly some consumers who are watching you and watching your page and trying to figure out how this is going to impact a possible home purchase they had planned here in the state of Florida. So right now, our number one priority is our realtor members and making sure that they have all of the up-to-date information with regard to how this is going to impact their business. Right now in the state of Florida, we're under this stay-at-home order, and we are an essential service. So that was step number one, is we had to deal with all of these local governments who were trying to deal with this crisis in different ways. And I was joking with Barry at one point last week that I felt like I was playing whack-a-mole, because we were just constantly going from one county to another and trying to explain to members in different areas what they could and could not do. And then when the governor issued the final stay-at-home order, we were named as one of the essential services, which meant that real estate could continue. And Barry's going to talk a lot about being a responsible realtor and what that actually means in reality. But the important thing is that real estate was still available, is there was shelter that people needed. In the state of Florida right now, vacation rentals are closed and hotels are closed. So if we have homeowners who are selling or home buyers who are buying, they're leaving one property and need to go to another. And that has to happen. So we were so fortunate to do that. And my hat's off to my Tallahassee team who stayed in constant contact with the government officials to continue to convey that message and make sure that that could happen. On the other side of that is, okay, essential real estate is going to continue, but a lot of optional real estate isn't. And we basically asked our realtor members, you need to, in some cases, stop working. And what does that mean to them economically? And that is where we are putting all of the information available that we can as to what's available for them.
Well, and also it's notable to point out, you are leading the Florida Realtors community, which encompasses 195,000 members, if I'm not mistaken, of which I'm sure many are waking up each day, opening up their laptop and saying, what now? Right? And so can we talk a little bit about services that are available and whether you want to mention the national, state level, the local levels, what services can realtors be focused on right now?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, what I want to point out is that we have a consolidated web page, which is floridarealtors.org/coronavirus. So all of the information I'm going to go over briefly is all there in greater detail. So first and foremost, at Florida Realtors, there is a legal hotline. And you can contact the legal hotline. You can speak to an attorney real time. There's usually about a 2-minute wait period at max. And you can pose any legal question you have with regard to a transaction. A lot of folks who are living in areas under stay-at-home orders that have gone even further are trying to figure out how to get stuff closed. All of those questions can be posed to the attorneys. There's also a tech help line open. In the event that you're transitioning to doing everything online, and Renee, I compliment you. I mean, this is a fantastic service to your community. Our number one question on the tech helpline right now is how to operate Zoom. And we have a dozen analysts who can actually get on the phone with you and not only tell you how to install the app Zoom, how it works, they can also tell you what webcam will work the best with Zoom and your laptop. So all of that information is available, and this is a live call center that you can contact as a Realtor member. On the legal side, there's also a ton of resources on the coronavirus resource page. Specifically, there is a Q&A with regard to how COVID impacts transactions. There is a video that talks about whether or not this is force majeure. I'll give you all a quick sneak peek. It's not in most cases. And then there's also a Q&A about the new forms. And I'm going to let Barry do the announcement, but we actually released a brand new form today with regard to COVID-19. And I'll let him do the shout out when he does a quick update. But there's a purchase contract addendum. There is other information there, and that's all on that webpage.
It's very nice that the information is coming out on one source. And also, we are grateful for feeling that leadership coming down. We're feeling it even on the local level. So kudos to you all for really navigating through and being at the helm of that.
Well, Barry, the conversation really kind of came about is because, Renee, we're in different states, and our boards and MLS communities and real estate communities are all navigating this a little bit differently. And so we've been talking all the time, and Renee has been nothing but complimentary about how y'all have been handling all of this. And so it was a natural fit to have you guys on here, and I'm getting to see what you are doing a little bit differently than what our state is doing. So that's awesome.
It's a lot of information to navigate. I mean, we've talked about that even at the brokerage level, right? Is the information needs to be navigated on a local, on a county, at the state level. You're dealing with different MLS systems, which I believe it's over 50 MLS systems within the state of Florida. So it's a lot, and we feel it, which is great that we have that support from you. Barry, would you like to talk a little bit about how realtors can navigate in the most responsible fashion? You've mentioned the legal hotline, which is imperative as a resource, but what else can realtors be focused on to stay responsible in the way they navigate their business?
Well, first of all, again, thanks for hosting us today. This is amazing, and you guys just made some interesting comments about how things are evolving throughout the country and how different associations are handling things and communities are responding to a lot of different things. I will tell you one thing, though: the needs of the consumer and the challenges are the same. All 50 states and all 1.4 million members have the same thing affecting them when they wake up every day and open up that laptop. It's how to best serve their customers, because while our responsibility is to keep this organization healthy and keeping Tech Helpline open, which, by the way, is the only domestic helpline that I know of technically in the United States, and it's part of your membership, and having our attorneys on staff, which are just second to none. They're amazing human beings. But our members out there, the 195,000 that we represent local, they have a need. Margy mentioned they still have to make a living, right? We all know that. So how can they do this in a responsible way? That's number one. Being that you have to make a living doesn't mean business as usual. It also doesn't mean just because you have a real estate license, you can use it as a badge and just go out and drive around and show it if somebody questions you while you're out. The first thing you really need to do is when you put your hand on that doorknob and you're thinking about leaving to go do something, you have to really look at what does the word essential mean. Because while the CDC gives us a guideline that we can go by, that is a very loose guideline. I think that it's, number one, it's just a guideline. And we have to being that we are the ultimate professionals, we're not just salespeople, we're realtors. We don't just have a license, we have an oath and a code of ethics that we have to stand by. We really have to understand, what does that mean? Gathering groups of less than 10. Well, the CDC also said it doesn't take 10 people to spread this virus, it takes one. And there's a lot of different things that have come out from the CDC. Even while we're on this video, most likely they're working on what is best practices. I mean, we're hearing today that, you know, some states are thinking about opening back up for business. And then, you know, so warp speed is the number one thing. Number two is be responsible. Be responsible for your own actions. It doesn't mean to return to open houses as normal. It's being responsible in the sense that use virtual media as much as you can. It's out there. We're forced to. And, you know, as a sidebar, I think that we're going to be better for it. You know, our theme this year at Florida Realtors was better, faster, stronger. We did not know then, obviously, that we would be challenged with such a catastrophic event. Economists are calling it a black swan. It's never happened before in history. But how inventive that our realtors have been. Margy mentioned a little bit ago about our documents and our forms that have come out. You know, first of all, we had the application to the contract, the existing contract, and that was for the need. We heard the cry, we heard the need, we heard the request from the brokers and the agents. Similarly, we just heard that the other day, and within a matter of days, our legal team went to work and has come up with a great disclosure that I think is best practices. So, you know, using virtual and digital, watching things like this. I mean, the more webinars you can watch to see what the best practices are from the top professionals in your area. That's the other thing that is so amazing to me is the resiliency of our members. They're actually sharing. Where else do you have an industry where you have to fiercely compete and we had to cooperate to get along? We don't have to do that now, but our realtor members with the realtor spirit are doing it because they want to help each other. I mean, that to me is amazing. That just does a heart good. So be responsible. We did do a video at Florida Realtors that has amazing traction, so that's available. And then, of course, we have a best practices graphic that goes along with it, an infographic that we're happy to share with you if you'd like to distribute it.
Renee, when you post this as a Facebook Live, I'll put in the comments the links to those two things.
That's great. I would appreciate that. Barry, you were touching on collaboration. Something that is so at the heart of both Elizabeth and I is collaboration. We like to reference it as authentic collaboration. Just the very fact that she and I come together, we're in two completely different states, and we learned a long time ago that we need to collaborate with an authentic heart. And when we do, it elevates the service we all provide for our customers, which is, I have to say, I'm seeing more of it now, and I agree with you. I think the realtor community in general is coming together to realize we have to stand arm in arm and really help each other as we navigate through this. So just, can we touch a little bit on, Margy or Barry, if you want to mention what programs are available for realtors who may find themselves in a challenged or distressed situation currently?
Barry, you want to start and then I can fill in? Oh, I can go, sure.
Yeah.
Go, Barry.
Well, okay, so thanks. So, you know, a couple things that are available. Number one, from the one thing that you always have to remember is that you have a home association. I'll start with that. Your local association possesses more information than you know. The CEOs and association executives from around the state and around the nation get together, and they are your home. They are your hub. And I always, my wife and I joke a little bit, but when we have a situation at home, whether it was parenting or whether it was a business situation or whether it was just a social struggle we were doing, everything was taken care of at the kitchen table. So treat your home association as the kitchen table, because we're pushing a lot of information down to them, but more importantly, they're pushing stuff up to us and Margy at the state level. Obviously, the website at the state level is something that you really need to be engaged with. One of the things that I want to mention that we often miss is we mentioned that it's floridarealtors.org/coronavirus. When you get there, don't just read the information. One of the things that you need to do is register for the Florida Realtors News. So that information is pushed down to you every single, I guess at night. I don't know when they do it. They're like elves. It just happens. And so this information, when I wake up every day and I grab my cup of coffee and I talk to my wife, who's my business partner, the information is right in front of us, and that's how we start our day. And of course, at the state level, some of the things that we're working on is that we have been holding we're going to every 2 weeks, and we're meeting with we've invited the top 500 brokers that responded to have a town hall where we are getting together every 2 weeks. We're discussing the things that matter to them, whether it's market statistics, whether it's legal issues that we need to address, much like our documents that we came through with in a timely manner. And then we're doing the same thing on a weekly basis with our district vice presidents. You know, Florida has 195,000 members. We have 51 local associations, and that's broken up into 13 districts. So we have leaders in every district, and we let them lead. And we talk to the presidents and the CEOs weekly. Our leadership team is meeting 3 times a week. So we're doing a lot at the state, and all that information, again, is being pushed to the website. I'll let Margy talk a little bit of what's happening at national for the ones that are in need, especially the financial part.
Sure. So as most people know, the president signed the CARES Act about 2 weeks ago, and huge provisions were placed in that act. It was intended to be a stimulus, but what we all know is it's a rescue, is an absolute rescue, and it's intended to help rescue small businesses. And the majority of realtor brokers are small businesses. And we basically asked many of you to stop working, or at least take a huge hit to your bottom line. And a lot of us are starting to sort of see that. We're starting to see new listings go down. We're starting to see pending transactions go down, and that's concerning. Under the CARES Act, there are 3 kinds of small business loans available to small businesses, and realtors qualify for those. The application process opened up, I believe, a week or 2 ago, where you can actually get with one of your lenders or with the Small Business Association and fill out all of the paperwork that you need. What I will share with you is the 2 most popular are the Paycheck Protection Program, because that involves a $10,000 grant. You don't have to pay it back. And the second, as long as you meet all the requirements, I want to make sure that's clear. And then as well as the economic injury loans. Those are it's called the EIDL. Those are the most popular that we've seen among brokers. There is some real concern on the street that those funds may run short. I will tell you that your National Association of Realtors is in contact with the Congress every single day, explaining how essential it is to replenish that fund. Because you asked us to stay home, you asked us to help save lives, but now you have to make sure that you help us all stay in business. The other side of the coin in the CARES Act was a fundamental funding of unemployment. And for the first time in history, independent contractors qualify for those unemployment benefits. Now, unfortunately, the state of Florida has not rolled that out yet. So we have stories of realtors who have applied and have been denied. Under the current system, they're treating unemployment for independent contractors the same way they've handled benefits that came down from the federal government in a time of disaster. And what they would tell folks during those times is, go ahead and apply for unemployment. We're going to deny you. And then we will give you a supplemental application and you'll be able to apply for these federal funds. Right now, that is how the Department of Economic Opportunity, that's the branch of Florida government that handles unemployment, is handling it. I will share with you though, they have not, I don't want to use the term figured out, but they have not been able to set up how to process applications for all of these independent contractors and what we call gig workers. I will tell you that our Tallahassee team, your public policy team, your lobbyists are in touch with the governor's office and DEO every single day. And what we've offered, one is we've offered help. It's how can we help you get this up and running? The latest update today is that they're in contact with their vendor and they're just sorting out how to program this to get it up and running. There's a Q&A up on the coronavirus resource page at Florida Realtors with all of the information that we know to date. As soon as we know more information, that Q&A will be updated.
And that's critical information to make sure that all of the realtors are staying in touch with. So the stimulus and the opportunities available to hopefully bridge a gap for realtors is one thing. Can either of you touch on what your thoughts are on the long-term impact, the long-term effect that we might see in Florida in the real estate market as a result of dealing with COVID?
So Margy, why don't I start off and then I'll hand it to you. That seems to be a pretty good relay program there. So yeah, I mean, our crystal ball, the batteries are dead, right? The best we can do is work with the data that we have and looking at historical events. One of the things that we have at our association and at all of our membership's disposal is Dr. Brad O'Connor, who is a phenomenal economist that we have, and we're so fortunate to have such a great data program. The evidence that we're seeing, obviously we know the numbers are going down. I mean, I watched an economist the other day and they had this big setup and they said, hey, do you think that this coronavirus is going to negatively impact the real estate market? His answer was yes. And that's all he said. And it was quiet. And I thought, wow. And they said, what do you see as the future? What we see is, because this is a little unique, this is not a hurricane. This wasn't something that hit us really, really hard and it has devastated us in small areas where the rest of the world can continue to function, where you have, if you have a hurricane in North Florida, if you have it in South Florida, you have it in Central Florida, the rest of the state of Florida continues to operate as normal. And so that keeps things afloat a little bit, and things can recover pretty quickly. We've seen it, the sentiment was as quick as a week for consumer confidence to come back. And I think that's the key. Dr. O'Connor, he talks about that specifically. So while we have the numbers and we know they're going to continue to go down, if, we don't want to stick our head in the sand and pretend that the numbers don't matter, because they do. Number one, they don't lie. Number two, they are what they are. But if we can continue to see the buyer sentiment stay high, which it is currently right now, they are interrupted is the way most consumers are responding to a lot of the polls that we see out there, especially when we're talking to our customers, is that they're putting things on hold. Well, if that's truly the case, then two things are going to happen. Number one, the economic impact that it's going to have from home price reduction probably isn't going to be as bad as it has been in other recessions and things that we've had. We've basically just put everything on hold. We're going to bring it back to the market. Now, of course, when we do that, we're going to have a flood of inventory that's going to come back in. And of course, that could affect competition in the marketplace, which is always good for the consumer. And it could bring some of the pricing down. But number two, our members are better than they ever have been. Our associates that are around the state of Florida are so much smarter. They're so much faster. They're so much better than they were before. And they're doing a great job in staying in communication with their buyers and sellers. So if this is the case, then we shouldn't see as big of a downturn in the housing market. Now, of course, we know that it's going to negatively impact that. But we don't feel that looking at the trends, again, not ignoring the numbers, but focusing more on trends and what has happened in other economies when we've had the H1N1 and some of the other ones, is that we've always recovered pretty well. As Margy mentioned, she calls it a rescue package. I call it a surrogate economy. It's a fake economy that they're plugging in, a substitute economy, I should say, not fake. So we're going to have to see the repercussions of that. But the reality of it is we're not going to see it right away. Most of the impact that we're going to see where brokerages, I should say, are going to see some of the impact may not be realized until August or September of this year. Because as we know, it's a 30 to 60 to 90 day cycle in real estate. So right now, what we're surviving off of were the transactions that we had in the pipeline. And I would imagine by May or June is when we're really going to start to see the impact of this virus and what it's done. But again, if the economists that we're listening to, and we're not just listening to the ones we want to, we're listening to Dr. Lawrence Young at the National Association of Realtors and some independents from our friends. I talked to one of the economists from Stewart Title. I've talked to a couple of them that were other industries, our friends from the Chamber of Commerce, and they all seem to be lining up. So if that's true, I like to be optimistic, but I'm cautiously optimistic that the impact may not be as severe as it has been in the past. And number two, it may not last as long. So with that, I'll turn it over to Margy if she has anything additionally to add.
Thanks, Barry. As Barry said, I think that in addition to talking to me 3 times a day, Barry probably talks to Dr. O'Connor at least once a day. And Brad has no problem chatting with us that often because he's sort of like our daily check-in. Has anything changed? The one thing that has hit home with me every time he and I talk is he reminds me that this is not 2008. This is not a housing crisis. This is a global pandemic. And it is a very different animal, is that we will still have a supply and demand problem in Florida when all of this is over. We will still have historically low interest rates when all of this is all over. On the national level, we are absolutely advocating daily to make sure that FHA, Fannie, and Freddie continue operating in a safe and responsible way to make sure that credit is available to everybody. But we have to just keep reminding ourselves this is not a housing crisis. This is a global pandemic. And once that crisis passes, the housing market should be able to resume.
So I'm in the Orlando market, and I'm a team leader. Our team has seen obviously a slower pace in our transactions. We have 2 segments of business. The first segment is obviously the primary residence buyer and seller. And the other segment is going to be, which we have a significant number of investors and buyers and sellers in the vacation home industry. So what are your thoughts on how the vacation home industry is going to be impacted? As we know, we are all Airbnbs and all short-term rentals are still at a halt for some time. Do you have thoughts you want to share on that particular industry?
Margy, do you want to lead off?
Nope, you got it.
Okay. I think what we're going to be looking at is everything's going to be the same across the board. you know, when they say that the tide rises all ships, that's what's going to happen. Right now in Orlando, while you're seeing such a big crunch over there, is obviously the job loss. When you look at how many people were affected in the hospitality industry, that's why your economy is being hit so hard, specifically in that area. I live in Manatee County, specifically. I'm only a couple miles away from Anna Maria Islands, where I was born and raised. And so what we're seeing from a realtor standpoint is we're getting more inquiries, believe it or not. We're starting to see people look at investment properties alternatively to the stock market, because when the stock market fell as fast and as hard as it did, I think a lot of the people that had lost a lot of money in their 401ks, they're starting to look at alternative investments right now, especially people that were all in the stock market. So we're getting inquiries from folks from all over the country and all over. I mean, we had one from Germany inquiring about investment properties and specifically vacation properties. So I think that it's all the entire, the virus, like Margy said, it's a pandemic. So everything that lowers the tide has gone out for a little bit. As long as we can weather the storm, and when that tide comes back in, hopefully we're going to see that economy rise back up, especially in that second home and investment. The same to be true, because what we don't see is a high influx of new listings on vacation properties hitting the market right now. And you know, that would be another case if that were an indicator. Because again, I'm looking at the numbers. That's Brad's job. I, as an owner of a company, try to look at trends and what can we plan for. And people that we have are actually looking to purchase homes right now and to put them in their portfolio. So again, it's too far out to be seen. But you know, real estate in Florida has always been, and in my personal opinion, unless something really changes about Florida, will always be the premier location for investment into real estate. I mean, we have Mickey Mouse, and yes, Mickey's house will open one day. The restaurants will be full, the hotels will be full, the conventions will be going on, and life will return to somewhat a normal feel again. We'll all be different because of it, but the desire to invest in real estate will always maintain, in our personal opinion, this is one of the safest and the greatest investments you can make. So hopefully some of the people that realize that there are alternatives to their 401ks, such as self-directed IRAs, STEPs, those types of things, this is a time that I think that they're realizing it could be a good investment. So that's my 2 cents. It's my, you know, my opinion only.
Well, and Renee, I can actually go a step further, and I can give you a statistical fact, and that is that the economic impact of vacation rentals in the state of Florida is $27.4 billion annually. And that was confirmed by a study that Florida Realtors partnered with the University of Central Florida. So there are not enough hotels in Florida, and the Sunshine State will shine again. And folks will choose to come here because the weather is so lousy everywhere else. So we need somewhere to put them. And what I'm hoping is that, you know, folks who either liquidate because they're economically injured during this crisis, that will help our inventory. And then folks who are looking for that other investment will come here. One thing I urge all of the realtors and any vacation rentals on the broadcast to do is please check in with your owners. Check in with your owners and make sure that before they make a decision about getting a forbearance or making some kind of other financial decision, that they get some expert advice. Not all forbearances are treated equally. And unfortunately, there's been some communication in the press that seems to say that, hey, if you don't want to pay your mortgage this month because you're having a difficulty because of COVID-19, you don't have to, and you're entitled to a forbearance. Well, it doesn't mean the same thing for everybody. So we just want to make sure that before you make a big decision like that, please read the fine print, because in 2008, we had a lot of people take the forbearance option thinking that that was, you know, kind of the magic bullet for them. And then when the forbearance period ended and they were kind of just about on their feet, they were basically said, okay, well, you can either have an invoice for all of the money that you haven't paid and you can pay that in one payment, or we can spread it out over the life of the loan and it's going to be $600, $700 more a month. Neither of which the borrower could afford. And that led to more short sales and REOs. So just please make sure that as you're making these financial decisions, there are experts available, and just make sure you're making a good decision.
That's a great point. I mean, not just in Florida, but across the board, we're seeing the same thing. And there's a lot of miscommunication out there, and people think they understand it. But then when you really start digging into it, and we're in the industry, right? We're not loan officers, but we're reaching out to our partners and understanding. And so our lender partners have been really critical in that. And they're communicating very well and very just black and white bullet points. This is what it means. This is what the result could be. And you referenced 2008 a couple times, and we both made it through that time, right? We were both licensed then. And it's interesting because what we're all experiencing now, for those of us that have been through that, there are some similarities, but it is very, very different, right? I mean, it is not the housing crisis like you mentioned. It's a very different feeling. And I think we're all going to come back from it. But again, it's an opportunity for us as agents and professionals in the real estate space to educate and be that resource for our clients and make sure they have all that information. I think in '08, we didn't have the tools and technology in training and communication like we do now, right? There's no excuse not to be able to be that resource for those people. And so Renee and I have been really vocal about that in talking to our agents and talking to our community and just saying, listen, collaborate, let's discuss, let's see how we can help everybody moving forward. Because again, we didn't have those tools, 12 years ago.
Collaboration is key. Barry, you touched on and discussed a little bit with being innovative and agents needing to have that agility right now. On the thoughts of innovation, do either of you see a future with one unified MLS throughout the entire state of Florida?
Great question.
Margy, you want to take this one or you want me to kick it off?
So I'm just going to say is that as an association right now, no, there is no plan for a statewide MLS. I will share with you that our multiple listing services, and I sympathize with the brokers for the additional costs, and Barry's going to talk about a tool that can help you with that. But I will tell you that real estate is in fact local, and the folks who are running our multiple listing services for the most part are fantastic at what they do. And the systems they have built for you and all of the products, tools, and services that they offer is next to amazing. So right now there is nothing in our mission plan or our plans for our statewide MLS, but we do have something that Barry can tell you about.
And I'll hold
All right,
that.
Barry, you're on the spot now, Barry.
And I'm going to save that to the very end. I was just like a great communications person. We'll save that. Stay tuned. So no, Margy's exactly right. If you could imagine a world where we only had blue Buicks to drive, what would you think? And that's what the reality is. There's nothing wrong with the blue Buick, right? They're great vehicles. But your regional multiple listing services are made up of shareholders from their respective areas. And the reason that's so important is what they need in South Florida is not what they need in Tallahassee or the Panhandle or Jacksonville. I'm not opposed to having a centralized data service, which there's a hint or a clue for you, the things that we have had for years. But it's more importantly, it's the local flavor. Neapolitan ice cream, the reason it's so wonderful is everybody likes a different flavor from time to time. And yes, it's an additional expense, just like it is to me. However, what I get from my friends at the Pinellas Realtor organization, or if I belong to another one in Miami or wherever, is the reason I will join that is because I get different products and services and educational offerings at the association that partner with the locals that deliver such a great product. And so regionally, I think that it makes sense to maintain. Now, could there be a big 3 or big 4 total statewide? Who knows? I think that the time and the market's going to dictate that. And we as realtors, we all have the right to belong to the ones that we want to belong to. The National Association of Realtors made that possible for us to belong to as many or the ones that we want. What we have had that Margy had alluded to for many, many years is something called MLS Advantage. And this is a product that is available to everyone, 195,000 realtor members around the state of Florida. If you log into floridarealtors.org and just put into the little search query, MLS Advantage, what that's going to do is take you to what resembles, it looks like something you're familiar with in the multiple listing service. The difference between the two is one, you can't have a listing load or a modification to your listing from MLS Advantage. But what it does offer you is well over 90% of the entire state's listings, no matter where you are. We have some associations that are so unique in their local geographic areas that it just doesn't make sense for their leadership to enable us to have that data right now. But who knows over time? We've built this very organically. It is a very robust program. From a market analysis standpoint, I will tell you, it's as good, if not better, than anything I've seen in the multiple listing service. The photographs, the functionality, how it shows up on your laptop is it's very responsive. So whether you're looking at a large monitor or your mobile side is wonderful. It's a great supplemental project or service that you can log into if you are looking for property in an area that your multiple listing service does not participate in. It should be your first go-to. It's amazing. It has all the land, and it's not heavy on the commercial side right now. We are looking at some different things commercially that could benefit commercial practitioners statewide, but we haven't gotten there yet. We're allowing the members come to us with what they want. and with a plan. And then as an association, our job isn't to create competing products. Our job is to deliver the products and the services that our members ask us to, well within the confines of our planning and our budget. So MLS Advantage I've used for many, many years. It's always a good cross-check with you to make sure that you're, what listings are there. It's always a great product when you're looking at another area that you're helping somebody purchase in. So it's a great product. If you haven't seen it in a while, it has been revamped. Visually, it's very appealing. So if it's been a long time, I challenge you and I ask you to log back in and check it out while you have time.
And Barry, don't forget, it has an offer of compensation.
It does. Thank you, Margy. So
Yes.
Thank you. So similar to, thank you. So so like in MLS, you have an offer of compensation in this. So if you find it in MLS Advantage, say you live in Manatee County, you got a kid that's going to attend Florida State or University of Florida, and you're looking to buy them a little condo up there, that's where you can go and look. And if you find them something, you can also receive your commission as well. Also, it's a great tool for you to let your sellers know that if you are listing a property, not only does it go into your local multiple listing service, but this is being pushed all over the state as well to 195,000 members.
Another good reminder of a great resource. Okay, so I'm going to put both of you on the spot. What is the one thing realtors should be working on right now in their business?
Okay, so I'm going to give you two. I'm going to give you one for the broker owners and the company owners out there. The one thing that you need to be working on right now is your efficiencies. Right now is a great time to start evaluating every single one of those checks that you write and those things that hit your credit card every single month. Because just like Warren Buffett said, it's not the millions that'll make you or break you, it's the nickels and dimes. So this is a great opportunity for you to do that. Secondly, for a broker owner, this is a great opportunity right now that you need to be working on your leadership skills. And the reason I say that is your agents are looking to you first. You are their first lifeline. You are the one that they trust the most. So this is a good opportunity for you to hone in on and bone up on what is important with the National Association of Realtors, realizing that the resources are there, understanding what Florida Realtors offers you, and using and leveraging your local associations for a supplemental education tool. So this is a great opportunity for the broker owners to work on this and deliver excellent leadership, because that's what our agents look for most. Secondly, if you're an individual practitioner out there, it's also looking to how you can lean things out, but to be more inventive. This is a great opportunity that if you've always kind of rejected technology because maybe you're on the build a business by referral side, this is a great way to embrace and start looking at the products and services that can accentuate and complement but not confuse your business. Similarly, if you have been a techie all these years and you really rely on lead generation and purchasing leads, and that's kind of finding it, the well's running a little bit dry right now, if you will, what a great opportunity for you to work in your database. And what I mean by your database is your phone. Is if you look at your your address book in your phone right now, all of us have 200 to 300 different contacts in there. My bet is that 20% of them, you don't even know who the people are. What a great opportunity to reach out to your past clients, your friends, your coworkers that are out there in the industry for referrals. Working on referrals right now is the number one thing that I would be doing. So if the floodgates do open, and I use that word in all optimism, but when the gates open back up and we get to see each other face to face at our conventions and the National Association of Realtors convention, that we're fully ready with those relationships. So what a better time to build relationships and use technology to complement it, not confuse it. So those are the two things that we've been doing. And the other thing that I will tell you is reading. I know that some people don't have time to read, is pick up a book. I don't care what it is. Right now, Dr. Seuss makes the most sense to me than they ever have in my entire life. So get back in touch with the academic side of your business. The National Association of Realtors is offering a lot of their CE programs. They've Bob Goldberg, which I'm sure Margy will talk about, has offered some great stuff. So with that, why don't I turn it over to Margy and let her talk about what NAR is doing to help.
Sure. So NAR has re-rolled out a program that they actually had back in 2008 called Right Tools Right Now. And what that does is it waives significant fees for educational programs and other opportunities for you to take advantage of during what some of us might find as some downtime. And I will just, end my comment, Renee, because I think Barry did it perfectly, is stay in touch, is reach out and talk to the people in your community. You are all the keys to your community. You make a difference every single day. And sometimes that 5-minute phone call is the difference between a good day and a bad day for somebody.
The well-being phone calls. Elizabeth, we've been talking a lot about that, haven't we?
We do, yeah. Just checking in with people and having that connection, because a lot of people are isolated. They're not reaching out. And so it's easy for us just to pick up the phone and make a quick call, and you don't have to talk to people for an hour, just authentically check in on them. It makes a world of difference.
It sure does. Well, we're so grateful the two of you spend time to sit down and have a conversation. You have two very proud realtors that you're sitting with today. And so as a final question, I'm curious, both Barry and Margy, what are you most proud of in being a realtor?
Whew. The sense of pride. When you say pride, one of the things that I'm most humbled by is the community that we're seeing our members become part of, the bigger community. There are more engaged members right now that are out there. The reason that's humbling to see is because in our organization, we always talk about our accomplishments, right? And that's not always the important stuff. The important stuff is the human connection that we make. But what I would think the most about would be the innovation right now that we have from our members. You know, to that last point, do you realize that we probably have more information about the CARES Act than any other industry out there today because it impacted us the greatest? That wasn't just for realtors, by the way. There are other gig workers out there. There's musicians that are out there. There are those independent contractors out there that have never had an opportunity before. And we as an association fought so hard. We fought so hard at the state level. We fought so hard at the national level. So I'm humbled on one side, which it helps my heart. But secondly, being proud is to watch the 1.4 million members of the National Association of Realtors and our association fight so hard for its community. We have that information. We need to be disseminating that into our communities. We have become more of a fabric of our community than any other sector of the professional world. You know, we really are the gatekeepers of all of the information. So I'm so proud that that is finally coming to light and our communities are seeing that, because we're going to be better, faster, stronger for it. And with that, I'll turn it over to Margy.
Thanks, Barry, and you did that beautifully. Renee and Elizabeth, the one thing I can tell you is that in Florida, we have 195,000 members, and I'm not a realtor, but I am so incredibly proud of the fact that while you all don't always agree, at the end of the day, you are a family. And the realtor family is something that I'll just end with. When my son was 9 years old, I had to go to bring your mom to work day for a career day. And as he was introducing me, a little boy next to him said, "Oh, his mom," and I was a lawyer at the time, "his mom's a lawyer." And someone else said, no, she's a realtor. And my son looked at his friends and said, "No, she helps people who help people find homes."
Aww.
And I remember thinking, I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
You just gave me goosebumps.
Gave me chills. I was going to say, I just got chills. That's an awesome. I love the innocence and sweet answers from kids. It's just so raw and true and from the heart. That's a great answer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you both for sharing your time with us today. We know that your plate is full, you're juggling a lot, and the fact that you would take some time to share it means a lot. So thank you both.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Great to see you both. Nice to see you guys.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye.